You are not experiencing the change you want to see in your personal or professional life because you are just not dissatisfied enough. You are not experiencing, think about this, you are not experiencing the change you want to see because you're just not pissed off enough. Hey, I'm Tim Windsor. Welcome back to the Uncommodified podcast. Thanks for joining me again. I just want to share a little idea with you today again and get you thinking on your ride into work or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. That change is driven, the desire to change and do the hard work of change is actually driven and is actually proportionate to the discontent and dissatisfaction that you and I have to the present state of something in our life. The status quo, the place we find it. And if we're not aggressive antagonists of the status quo in our lives and the lives of others, if we're not dissatisfied enough with the present state of something, whether it's in my personal life, my professional life, whether it's in the world around me, then we will never do the hard work required for the change to happen. When the dissatisfaction is not painful enough, it doesn't drive us to action. You know, it's sort of like when you have a health problem. You know, if you have a nagging, aching pain and it's under the surface and it sits there, you don't do anything about it. You just put up with it. But if that pain becomes an acute pain, an appendicitis, you might actually do something about it. See, the level of pain drives action to do something about it. And so many times when I'm working with people, whether it's personally or professionally or in organizations, they say they want change. They say they want something to be different. They say they want something to be subtly or substantially different. But in fact, they're really just not dissatisfied enough. They're just not pissed off enough about the state of the way things are to do the hard work of change. And so can I suggest something to you? Number one, stop lying to yourself about the things you say you want to change, but you really don't because you're not that dissatisfied with it, clearly. And if there's an area where you really want change, would you consider, are you dissatisfied enough? Maybe you need to grow your dissatisfaction. Maybe you need to get disgruntled a little bit more. Maybe you need to get a little bit angry about the thing you want to see different. If you want to see homelessness addressed in your community, if you want to see change happen, social change happen in your community, then allow the dissatisfaction for that to rise within you, proportionate or disproportionate, so that it will drive you towards an action that you will take that might soothe the pain. See, the problem for many of us is that if all we are is bruised, but we're not burnt by the pain, we often cannot find a response enough to see something different. And if we want to press in and find a different moment, what could be or what may be in our lives, what might be, we are going to have to understand that if we're not pained enough about the problem, nothing will change. And I think you, if you're really honest, you've got things that you've said for years you wanted to be different, problems that you wanted to solve in yourself. You know people who've talked about the same problem for years. The real problem is they're just not dissatisfied enough to do anything about it. You know, it's like with me with health. You know, when I got dissatisfied enough about my health, I started doing things about my health. And that's true for you as well. So I'm going to suggest something that seems strange. Unless and until you're willing to become dissatisfied, disgusted enough about the state in which you find something in yourself or in others or the world around you. And I'm not talking about disgusted with yourself or disgusted with others. I'm talking about disgusted with the problem. But if we don't become dissatisfied enough with the problems in our society and our world, we're going to bitch and complain and hope somebody else fix it, but nobody will. If you want to solve the problem of homelessness, get dissatisfied enough with the state of homelessness in your community and do something positive to make it happen. If you are dissatisfied with the state of affairs when it comes to people's ability to get enough food, then go out and get dissatisfied enough with what's happening in your community to drive social change. Because proportionate to our frustration, our angst, will be our desire to change. We need to convert all that angst into action. positive action for the sake of ourselves and the sake of others. And I know it sounds crazy, cockamamie maybe, might even seem ridiculous to you. But I really believe that sometimes change is not happening in my life. Actually, most often, it's not happening in my life because I am not dissatisfied enough with the state in which I find myself or the situation. I have not become an aggressive antagonist of the status quo, the way in which we find them. And over my life, I've encountered people that, when they become dissatisfied enough with the status quo around them, have made tremendous change in themselves, in others, in their communities, in their world for the sake of others. So here's my challenge to you. Are you dissatisfied enough with that thing that you're finally going to get off your ass and do what's required to see the change you want? You want change, be the change, and drive it through converting your angst to positive action, and then become the answer to the problem you want to solve. Go out and challenge yourself today, grow dissatisfaction, release action, and become the positive provocateur that you want to see in your personal, professional world. Have a great day. Think about this, and let's get it done.